Hey y'all, welcome back to Mulberry Ranch Farm. It's Ashley here with you again, and since my last video was on canning and how I conquered my fear, I'm already back at it. So from all of the canned chicken that we made, which is right over here, we've got 4 quarts. You can see I've water glassed some eggs. We've got all kinds of things going on here. I'm trying to hustle to preserve a lot of my harvest. So I'm back at it, canning today, and we're actually going to be doing our first batch of chicken broth. So I took all of the leftover pieces of chicken that weren't used, boiled it all down with some celery, some different herbs and spices, and carrots, onions, made it all congealed and goopy, strained it, put it into some jars, and we're canning that. But I have something awesome to show you from my garden. I give you Frankenmater. And I know Frankenmater is a little bit torn up, but it's because I was so excited to see Frankenmater deep within the tomato jungle that is my garden, and pulled it out and was like, there is no way this is one tomato, but it actually is. The stem looks kind of weird, but like when I broke it open, the fruit is connected all the way around. So I have dubbed this guy Frankenmater. I have a feeling that Frankenmater is going to make some really great salsa. What do you think, Frankenmater? Frankenmater had brothers and sisters. We have, look how big this green tomato is. And I've got one over here too. I mean, these are going to be fried up probably with a side of deer. And then we've got some bell peppers. We've got jalapenos, some banana peppers that you guys were with when we picked earlier, cucumbers that I'm getting ready to put on ice and to start pickling. And it doesn't stop. I mean, it's not stopping. Not stopping. There's just more and more and more and more. But after some of the experiences that I've had with past gardens, the fact that this garden is producing so much that I almost can't consume all of it, that I almost can't get all of it in on the limited amount of time. Like, we work full-time, guys. We're blessed. I get to work remotely from home, so I can do some pressure canning while I'm at home, as long as I'm like cognizant of times and making sure that my pressure gauge is staying where it needs to stay. Learning so much now that I've broken the seal on canning, even though you don't want to break seals when you're canning. You want a really strong seal. And I would absolutely be lying that if I told you that I did not appreciate this unexpected abundance, especially right now. The more that I think about food preservation and the things that are on the horizon and how important it is to make sure that my family and I have these skills that a lot of people might not. And even though I know there's a lot of craziness going on and people think maybe the food shortages won't get bad, you know, this week we're actually fixing our lawnmower. You would not believe how hard it was just to get small parts for a lawnmower. The shortages in the parts that are all probably sitting out at Harbor are kind of insane. And all I can think is, are our farmers going to be facing this too? And it makes me worry a lot, not just for me, but just for a lot of people. There are a lot of people that don't have these skills or don't feel like it's important to have them because, you know, it was funny. I was talking to my mom the other day. I just started to decide that I was going to can, and my mom grew up canning her entire life as a young lady. And we were talking and she's like, you know, actually, I used to can all the time. She's like, when I got married to your dad, I'd go out into the garden and I would plant all kinds of things, and I would sit there and I would tend to the plants, and I would wait for my harvest, and I'd pull my harvest in and I would prepare it and I would can it. She's like, and then one day I was just at a grocery store and it was like 20 cents for a can of beans. And she's like, I probably put a whole lot more time and effort than 20 cents into my cans of beans that I did myself. And she's like, but I guess that's where they get you, isn't it? And you know, that really made me think that my mom, who grew up in Tennessee, they lived an impoverished lifestyle. They didn't have a lot of the things that we have. She didn't get to enjoy a lot of the things that me and my family enjoy. And, you know, for her, that is a win, because as a parent, you never want your kids to have to kind of go through the hardships or any of the trials and tribulations that you went through, because you know how hard it was. But then I started to think, and I'm like, you know, trials and tribulations aren't something to veer away from. They kind of bring us up into the people that we're supposed to be. They make us just that much more stronger. It forces us out of our comfort zone to become better people, to create things to be more innovative. But you know what? With innovation comes convenience. And convenience makes us lazy, and convenience makes us find comfort in things always being there. It's hard not to walk down the grocery aisle and look at all of the different selections that we have access to and think it won't be there one day, because every time that we've walked in that grocery store since we were little, that thing has been there. Those selections have been there. And that's great. It's awesome. I love that we have that ability here, especially in the US, that we don't live, my family doesn't live an impoverished lifestyle, and I certainly know lots of different pantries and things that are put together so that other people don't have to live too much of an impoverished lifestyle. But then it really got me to thinking. About convenience and how it's made us uncomfortable. Sorry, Sunny came up to say hello. She's hoping that I'll give her a bite of corn. No, honey, not right now. You guys get all the husk after we're done. But it did stop and make me think about how that convenience and that reliability can sometimes be a mirage. It gives us that false sense of security. And ultimately, it's really taught us to be uncomfortable with discomfort, because discomfort means something isn't convenient and readily accessible at our fingertips. And that makes us weak. It's great to have a lot of that privilege to be able to do those things and have all this selection and have all these different programs that make it to where people don't have to suffer or worry about where their next food comes, which I know there are a lot of people in the US all over the world where that they have no idea where their next meal is going to be coming from. But really, when I look at what it was like back in my mom's time, her grandmother, my great grandmother, and I look at now and I'm like, we have no idea how hard it was back then. And because we've been spared from that hardship, it's made us soft. We've gotten really comfortable being comfortable, and we haven't learned to become comfortable with discomfort. And I'm afraid that the things that are on the horizon that there's a lot of things going on in our country right now, in our world, all over the place, that I would be surprised if we kept the level of convenience that we have now. I would be floored if you told me that there wasn't going to be a huge change, or there wasn't going to be a huge struggle or challenge, because there are just so many things on the horizon that are saying to get ready. So that's why my family and I are busy with the harvest. You reap what you sow, and you get out of things what you put into it. And we've put a lot of time at the expense of our channel most of the time, at the expense of going out with friends and having a normal social life. Because let's be honest, when you become a homesteader, you think, oh, I've got all this land, I've got all the, and people are just going to love coming over. And then you realize what it all takes. And it takes sacrifice. And it takes a little bit of solidarity and really pulling in, because it's all about being self-sufficiency. So you're really pulling into self and seeing what your personal levels of comfort are. How far can you push yourself to be successful? How far can you push yourself to be sufficient? And when you decide that you're going to become self-sufficient, it's self. It's not a whole lot of other people, but let me tell you what, guys, there is community in the homesteading world. Look at the HOA, for example. Homesteaders of America conference coming up in October. Cannot wait. Actually was just talking to a good friend of mine, Emma, over at Sony's place, and we were talking about things that have been keeping us busy, keeping us from not communicating a whole lot or posting a whole lot of videos. And I said, I am counting down to Homesteaders of America. And it was funny because she's like, we are too, I can't wait. Because there are seasons with this lifestyle when it's not all self. There are restful periods. Just like spiritually and physically, there are restful periods in our life where we are out, we are planting the harvest, we're planting the seeds, we're cultivating the soil, we're pulling the weeds, we're making sure everything goes right, we're tending to the livestock, making sure they have food, water, they're healthy, because everything that we put into them to make them their best, they give back to us to make us our best. And there's something super beautiful about that. But then there also is a season of rest where the plants die back, the weather changes, the days get shorter, the nights get longer, the animals don't seem like they need that much attention, even though I think my goats make it a personal challenge to keep me on my toes all seasons of the year. But that's okay, because other things like this behind me will all die down. I'll have pulled in my harvest and I will get that period of rest. And during that period of rest, I will also probably start looking at a period of planning for the next year, for the next harvest. And I know this video doesn't seem like it's got a lot of direction, but there's just something in the air right now. And I'm feeling really empowered because I'm taking that next step on things that usually would have frightened me and that would have made me really hesitant to be able to prepare. And honestly, fear keeps us back from so much. Fear holds us back from breaking through those parameters, breaking through the next barrier, getting to the next level. Because let's be honest, anybody that's ever gone to the next level or done something big or grown, they all had to find that barrier of fear and they had to go right past it. And I don't know what it's going to take to make some people go past the barrier of fear. For me, a lot, it's my family, it's the faith, and it's this lifestyle of self-sufficiency. I want to do it myself. I don't want to have to depend on nobody or nothing. I want to have community too, but I don't want to have my fate or the fate of my friends and my family in the hands of somebody else that so far is not proving that I can trust them with that. You know who I'm talking about. So my message to you is to get out there, start planning your harvest. If you're in a season of rest, make sure you're planning and make sure that you're preparing. And I find it really funny that here lately, whenever I talk to people about being prepared, they're like, oh, you're one of those people. Hey, we prepare for tests. We teach our kids to prepare for every test, prepare for every business interview, prepare for everything. So why is preparing for the uncertain, for bad situations so frowned upon? Just a little food for thought for those of you out there wondering, why do people put so much time into preparing for things that they're not even sure are going to happen? The same way that I tell my kid that she needs to prepare for a spelling test so that she can perform her best, so that she can better her odds when it comes to getting better grades, graduating with a higher GPA, going to better colleges, and getting better jobs. Preparing is to better yourself. And if some of you are wondering, is it too late to prepare? Nope, it's never too late. It's never too late. There's community, there are people, there are so many different avenues to share knowledge, to gain knowledge, to become part of that community. It's never too late. And it can be as small as putting a tomato plant in a container garden on your back deck. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Any step to bettering yourself is a good step in any direction.